Okay, I'm going to be doing a series of videos called Rock Challenge videos, where I try napping some stone that friends of mine have sent me. Usually very tough stones and stones that they've had trouble napping, to see if I can make stuff from those. I've got a box here that I've been napping in this morning. This really tough stuff. It's from a friend of mine named Vince, and I wasn't able to make very much this morning from this. I filmed a couple videos, so I'm going to hold off on this box, but I am going to come back to it. I was able to make a couple points. This is like black quartzite, and this one here I broke the tip off, so I just quit. This is very tough. It's like rhyolite. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to hold off on this particular box, and I'm going to move on to another one. So for this video, I'm going to be napping some stuff out of this box here from a friend of mine named Jesse. He sent me some stuff. He didn't know what this was. This looks like novaculite. He sent me a bunch of stuff, Ohio River. Now the stuff that is hard to nap, I think, would be this here. He wanted me to try this, so let me try it. Let me go ahead and start on this. See what I can do. Florida chert. Looks like coral, I guess, and it's not heat treated or anything. It's just in a raw state. See what it does with the hard hammerstone. I don't know if you can see, but it's sending some sparks. Let's see here. I might be able to make something out of that one. Some of this isn't too bad. Got some voids in it. That was odd. I was hitting here and that kind of popped off on the back. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so these pieces here probably won't be too bad to make something out of. I'm going to try to make something out of this clunky piece. Maybe I'll tackle this in a different video. So I'll try to make these from time to time and try to catch up. I got a lot of chert and other types of rock that friends have sent me that I need to catch up on. They said I would do videos with their rock, and it's just been sitting there piling up. I made some videos earlier, like I said, and I was having trouble keeping the work in the frame, and there's a couple stones that were extremely tough, and I wasn't able to make very good use out of those. So I'm not going to post those videos. I'm going to see what I can do with this one though. It's different in consistency. This stuff over here is not too bad, but then it gets into this tough stuff. Kind of a, almost like a chalky feel to it, but it's it's very hard. And I'll be using a tool that I just made up not too long ago. It's a 3/8 inch copper bit on a 1 1/4 inch diameter rod. It's a lot more substantial than my usual 1/4 inch to work on this tough stone, so I don't put too much wear and tear on my smaller diameter tools. And we'll see how this goes. It responded okay to the hammerstone. Now when you're working tough stone, it's hard to run long flakes, so you can save yourself some time by making the preform narrow, because it's probably going to end up narrow anyway. So that's what I'm going to do with this one, is, you know, narrow it down and maybe try to take off some of the areas that are really tough. It all seems pretty tough, so we'll see. It's pretty thick at this point. So, excuse me. If I make it too narrow at this stage, I won't be able to remove those turtlebacks. So I'm going to try to thin it down at this point here. Just opportunistic platforms. I'm not going to prepare anything. See how that goes. If it doesn't go well, I'll have to start preparing platforms, and it takes more time. So I'm going to try to do the short way first. That's not too bad, but this stone is really tough. And I should be below center line for most of these hits. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, it does work if you're above center line, but it just blows away too much of the edge. Which is not a bad thing. You're taking a lot of risk, because if you're above center line and you remove a lot of the edge and what you just didn't work well, then you've just lost a lot of edge for nothing. Usually lowering the platforms does work a lot better. Usually. Now, normally that would go further, but this stone is a typical, really tough raw stone. It would probably improve a lot with heat treatment, but oh well. I'm right at center line, but I'm not going to spend too much time preparing, like I said. That wasn't too bad. I'm going to hit here and see what happens. I try to drive too much into the stone, and that's what happens. So let's see. That platform might be good. Just barely past center. It grades between this better stuff here to this really tough stuff here. I shouldn't have tried so much of a deep flake on this one, because if you go from softer to harder, it never works very well. Now from harder to softer, that works much better. So I'm going to try to drive flakes across. Okay. There, that's much better. That took off that step fracture. You get what they call a uralier flake, which is a secondary flake. It's not bad. It didn't hinge or anything. I mean, not too badly. It did hinge a little bit, but not too badly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to remove most of this on this side. I'll end up with a kind of a narrow point, probably. But I can't really do much with this material. Okay, so removing some of that edge allows me to drop it down so I can run some flakes. It's not too bad. I mean, but I'm hitting extremely hard, so Let's see. Let's see if I can remove that right there. Excuse me. Okay, not bad. Now, if you don't mind making thick points, and it's not too difficult to use this kind of material. The trick is thinning it down, and you need stout platforms and lots of force, so that really doesn't mix well with thinness. So I'm not going to try a lot of thinness with this. I'm not going to try to make this particular point thin. I should be able to get a sharp edge even though it's not thin in the middle. So again, I'm just going to do opportunistic flaking because it worked out okay. Instead of trying to take a lot of time to prepare these platforms. Let me see. Man, it really does not want to cooperate. It wants to try to go over the edge, but it just doesn't do it. Yeah, without stout platforms, it does that kind of thing. I can probably catch this edge a little bit. Try to flatten it just a little bit here. Yeah, I was able to knock off a few flakes. Every little bit helps. When you've got obvious step fractures, sometimes you can catch the tops of those and just trim those areas flatter. Like right here, I can probably catch that, and yep, I was able to pop the rest of that off there. Now, as the workpiece gets smaller, I need to support it more because I'm hitting it very, very hard. And if I support it more, I don't need to hit it as hard. You know, I don't have to keep increasing the amount of force I need to use. Suppose I could be using an anvil or something behind this to give it more mass. The platforms are not crushing, so I can probably run longer flakes if I use some kind of support. But since I don't have anything prepared, what I'm going to do is I'll just trim it down and make it a little more narrow, beef up those platforms again, take another thinning pass and try to get rid of that thickness. I'll need to get really close to this somehow to run a flake over the top. So what I think I'll do is work on this edge here, lower it down to take some of this off, lower it to the other, again to the other side, and try to take some of that off. It'll make it a lot more narrow, but it'll be thinner. Well, theoretically it should have gone across the top, but oh well. Just try. I'm going to try it from the other side. Again, this is really tough material. So some of you guys might be thinking, oh, you could just do this or that, and lower it more, grind it more, give yourself a better platform, support it more, and you'll be able to remove that stuff. But the technique I'm using works well on regular stone, and I can do all that stuff. It's just on this particular types of stone, it doesn't really matter too much what technique you use here. You're gonna get inferior results from that technique, because you're working with poor quality tool stone. So it's not really the technique, it's the stone. The stone is resisting being worked. So let me just see if I can get this off here. Now I can feel that moving around in the plastic. I'm not hitting extremely hard, but I'm going to go with a larger mallet and hit even harder. See what that does. Well, remove the platform. Right there. No flake. Wasn't too bad. The flake or the platform I thought would be the strongest, so it ended up being not worth anything, and a couple of weaker platforms helped me quite a bit. But the increased mass of the new mallet, this is 1 5/8" I believe. I ordered a bunch of 1 1/2" and they made a mistake and sent me some thicker stuff, so I've been using it for mallets. It's not bad. Still got a little island there in the middle. Try to flatten this a little bit more, and then I'll go to the other side. "24 minutes. I'm hoping that I don't spend more than 30 minutes or so on each of these. I'm not sure if I'm going to complete this and make a point out of it, or just use the time to make a biface. Now it'll wear, this will wear down eventually, even if I'm just going to the middle. As long as I'm going to the middle, it still takes off some mass from the center. Just not as quickly as if I go past the center. I'm going to beef up a platform here. Well, I got a lot of concavity in there, so that's probably not going to be good anyway. I have to look for a convex surface to attack that, or it's going to stay an island. Let's see. I can make it convex just by running some flakes there, but you also run the risk of stepping, and that doesn't do any good. But I think it's okay. I'm not going to make it too much more narrow. I'll just have to bite the bullet and stick with that amount of thickness. Some concavity on this side. I'm not going to be able to attack it from this side, so I'm going to have to come in from here. That's what I was going to do anyway, but during the grinding I seem to have blown away some of that edge. So I have less edge there than I thought I did, but I think I can still get that. Okay, so I'll leave that edge that way. And I'll try to work on this other edge, on this other side, I mean. So I was hoping wouldn't happen. I am going to try one more time on this side and try to get this flatter, because I have to get rid of some of this edge here anyway when I move it that way to try to get some of that off. So I might as well try for some of this. Not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to lower the edge and try to get some of this off here. I'm just delaying the inevitable. I'm cleaning up the edges a little bit before I start attacking that turtleback. Sometimes when I do this, it gives me a little bit of a fresh perspective on it when I get back to it. Just avoid it for a little bit and then come back to it. Besides, I like thinning the ends first. Anyway. Okay, so what I need to do is grind this down, make it a very stout area on both sides so I can try to attack that. It's just that I got a lot of step fractures. I'm able to clip off the tops of a lot of those by just side swiping with the flaker. Every little bit helps on that. Okay. It's already pretty narrow. I'm not sure exactly how fat it was when I started. It's looking pretty narrow by comparison. It's still pretty thick. Now, a really stout platform, narrow piece, a lot of force, has a potential to crack it right in half, so hopefully that won't happen. That's where time and experience come into play. Hit it, you gotta ride that fine line between too much force and not enough force. Okay, not too bad. And not too good. And this platform's got to be extremely stout. Let's see. Another factor in getting these things thinned down is just to have lots of experience with this type of stone, which I don't, but the lack of experience can be compensated for by just knocking the snot out of it. And hope for the best. Okay, I'm going to try for a strike through here. See what happens. Nope. Let's see. Take some off of that edge and drop it down again and try to take. Oh, it's already. Well, yeah. It's not low enough, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I'm going to try. Now that was, see how funny that is? It kind of wanted to scoop that out, but it went down in and over the top. Didn't really take much off. that's a little bit better. Okay, so a few more attempts at thinning this, and then I'm going to start shaping into the final form. It's 35 minutes. I think I have enough time to try to make an actual point out of it. I wanted this to be the tip and this the base, so I might make a stemmed point out of it. Okay, I might be able to catch the side of that and just knock it off. There you go. Yeah, I got to be careful with knocking off, hitting the sides of those step fractures, because that's what happens. You can get a diving flake and it'll weaken your point. Okay, so not too bad. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Switch to smaller diameter mallet and flaker. Let's see what happens. I'll try to keep the bold flaking on here. The abrader doesn't always work well as a hammer stone.